I didn't find out the way you'd expect. There were no lipstick stains, no mysterious late-night texts lighting up his phone, no perfume that wasn't mine. It was a grocery receipt. A simple, crumpled receipt I found in Daniel's jacket pocket while doing laundry on a Sunday afternoon. 2 steaks, a bottle of red wine, the expensive kind, strawberries, whipped cream, and the date, Tuesday. Tuesday was the night he told me he had a late meeting. I remember standing there in the laundry room, staring at that thin strip of paper like it was written in another language. My first instinct wasn't anger, it was confusion, because Daniel didn't even like strawberries. But my sister, Ava, did. Ava had always been the beautiful one. Growing up, teachers described her as radiant. Boys described her as unforgettable. Even strangers would stop my mother in stores just to comment on her smile. I was the responsible one, the steady one, the one who followed rules and built plans. Ava lived off instinct. I lived off discipline. When Daniel met my family for the first time, I noticed how long he looked at her. I told myself I imagined it, because that's what loyal wives do. They dismiss their instincts. That Tuesday night replayed in my head on a loop. He had kissed me goodbye that morning, texted me at noon, called at 6 p.m. saying he'd be home late. At 9:42 p.m. he sent, "Still in a meeting, don't wait up." I had microwaved leftovers and watched a crime show alone. Meanwhile, he was somewhere buying strawberries for someone. I told myself there had to be an explanation, until 3 days later. Ava invited me to brunch that Friday. She was glowing, that's the only word for it. Her hair was softer, her makeup effortless. She wore a new dress I'd never seen before. "You look happy," I said carefully. She smiled in a way that didn't reach her eyes. "I deserve to be," she replied. Something inside me tightened. Halfway through brunch, her phone buzzed on the table. She flipped it over too quickly, but not before I saw his name. Daniel. My husband. It's strange how the world doesn't end when your heart does. Cars kept driving past the cafe window, the waiter refilled coffee, a baby laughed 2 tables over, and I just sat there staring at my sister's upside-down phone. She noticed. Her fingers hovered over it. "Why is Daniel texting you?" I asked. My voice sounded calm, too calm. She didn't answer right away, and in that silence, I knew. You don't hesitate over innocent things. She finally exhaled. It just happened. Those 3 words, the coward's confession. I don't remember standing up. I don't remember walking out. I only remember sitting in my car, hands shaking against the steering wheel, unable to breathe. My husband, my sister, the 2 people I trusted most in this world, and suddenly I was the outsider. Daniel didn't deny it. When I confronted him that night, he didn't even try. He just sat at the kitchen table staring at his hands like a scolded child. "How long?" I asked. 6 months. 6 months. Family dinners, holidays, birthdays. 6 months of lies while I defended both of them to anyone who questioned their friendship. "I didn't mean for it to happen," he said. "But that's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't happen. It's chosen, over and over again." Ava called me the next day. "I didn't plan this," she said, crying. I laughed. Actually laughed. You don't accidentally sleep with your sister's husband for half a year. Silence. Then she whispered something that cut deeper than the affair itself. "He loves me." Not, "I'm sorry," not, "I messed up." He loves me, as if love justified destruction. The divorce process began 2 weeks later. Publicly, I remained composed. Privately, I was unraveling. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. Every mirror reminded me I wasn't chosen, that I wasn't enough. They moved fast. 3 months after I filed for divorce, Ava moved into the apartment Daniel rented downtown. I heard it from my mother. She says she didn't mean to hurt you, Mom whispered over the phone. I didn't respond, because intent means nothing when the damage is deliberate. Here's what they didn't expect. They expected screaming, social media rants, public breakdowns. They expected me to beg, to fight, to compete. But I did none of those things. Instead, I went quiet. And when a woman goes quiet after betrayal, it's rarely weakness, it's recalculation. Daniel had always handled our finances. I trusted him, which meant I didn't know the full extent of our investments, assets, and savings. But during divorce proceedings, I learned something interesting. Half of everything was legally mine, including shares in the company he co-founded 5 years ago, shares he assumed I'd sign away for a quick settlement. He underestimated me. He offered a buyout, lower than market value. I declined, politely, and hired a better lawyer. Meanwhile, Ava began posting photos, dinner dates, weekend trips, subtle shots of Daniel's hand holding hers. She wanted me to see. She wanted validation that she'd won. But she misunderstood something crucial. You can't win a man who betrays his wife. You inherit a liability. 6 months after the divorce finalized, I did something that terrified me. I quit my job. Everyone thought I'd lost my mind. Freshly divorced, emotionally wrecked, and I was walking away from stability? Yes, because stability had kept me small, safe, dependent. I used part of my settlement to enroll in an executive business program, the same field Daniel worked in. For the first time in my life, I stopped playing supporting character and started building something for myself. Healing isn't glamorous. It's therapy sessions where you cry over childhood comparisons. It's admitting you always felt second best next to your sister. Daniel used to cancel plans last minute, used to forget anniversaries, used to compare my cooking to Ava's. I laughed those moments off. I shouldn't have. A year passed, then 2. I changed in ways I didn't recognize. Physically, I got stronger, healthier. Emotionally, I stopped seeking approval. Professionally, I launched a consulting firm. Small at first, then steady, then profitable. I wasn't rebuilding to prove them wrong anymore. I was rebuilding because I finally valued myself. And that's when the first crack appeared in their fairy tale.
I ran into Daniel at a networking event. He looked older, more tired. Success hadn't settled on him the way it used to. We locked eyes across the room. For a brief second, I saw regret. "Claire," he said softly when we finally stood face to face. I smiled, polite, controlled. "Daniel, how have you been?" "Better than I ever expected," and I meant it. He hesitated, then said something I'll never forget. "It wasn't supposed to turn out like this." I tilted my head. How was it supposed to turn out? He didn't answer, because there is no version of betrayal that ends beautifully. A week later, I learned his company was struggling. Poor investments, leadership tension, and here's where fate gets poetic. My firm specialized in corporate restructuring, and one of his major competitors had just approached me for a long-term contract, the kind of contract that could shift industry power. I didn't orchestrate that. Life did, but I didn't ignore it either. Then came the call, from Ava, the first one in over a year. I stared at her name on my screen for a full minute before answering. Her voice wasn't glowing anymore. It was thin. "Can we talk?" I almost said no, but curiosity won. We met at a neutral cafe. No hugs, no pleasantries, just 2 sisters sitting across from the wreckage of what used to be family. She looked exhausted, mascara barely hiding sleepless nights. "He's different," she said quietly. I didn't ask who. I knew. "He's distant, angry. It's like, now that I'm not a secret anymore, something changed." Of course it did. Affairs thrive in fantasy. Reality exposes character. She swallowed hard. I thought he chose me. I held her gaze steadily. He didn't choose you, I said calmly. He chose himself. Tears filled her eyes. For a split second, I felt something close to sympathy. Then I remembered 6 months. I remembered strawberries. I remembered being told he loved her, and the sympathy dissolved into clarity. I didn't come here for comfort, she admitted. I came because he says your firm is advising one of their competitors. I said nothing. She continued, voice trembling. If that deal goes through, his company could collapse. There it was, the real reason. Not guilt, not reconciliation, fear. I leaned back slowly. I didn't worry about your collapse, I said softly. Why should I worry about his? She flinched, and in that moment, I realized something powerful. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't heartbroken. I wasn't jealous. I was free. But revenge, real revenge, isn't loud. It isn't screaming across courtrooms or slashing tires. It's evolution. It's growth so undeniable that the people who hurt you feel the distance. And I was just getting started.